Hello and welcome to Brew Babes podcast. I am your host, Danielle, also known as Sassy Cider Chick, and I am here with the lovely, the wonderful, the event goddess, my beer life mate, Kat Jones. How are you doing?
So good. So beautiful out today. I'm sitting in sunshine.
That is awesome. And we have a lot of good stuff to talk about, me and you. And Taylor already knows about it, but it'll be cool to be able to tell everyone else. And also joining me is the beautiful, amazing, talented, and spiritual, my beer soul sister, Taylor Woods. How are you, my love?
I'm very good, Danielle and Kat. Just getting a lot done today, which is good. Yeah, prepping for the week.
I am in studio because the studio is in my backyard. And you guys are not, because we all do not live close enough together to be able to all be in studio all the time. But I'm glad with technology that we all still get to come together and do this amazing podcast. I do want to tell you guys, and I didn't tell either one of you before, but I did wait on someone last night who came in, and she's amazing. And she was like, "Hey, how's the podcast going?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's going real well." And she goes, "Oh, good. I wanted to make sure your numbers are good because I love listening. Like, I watch every episode."
Well, that's amazing.
So, yeah, she goes, "You guys are amazing." So that was super cool, and of course, during Beer Week, everyone's like, "Oh, I've seen, like, your videos," but now that we have full episodes out, that was really cool to hear. She said it was fantastic. So just passing that along with you. But this week, we had a big deal on Wednesday, and I'm actually going to let Kat just tell us all about it. Miss Executive Director.
Thank
Neat.
you. Tampa Bay Beer Week met for our public meeting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta love that pop. Tampa Bay Beer Week met together for our general public meeting, which is over at our friends over at Magnanimous hosted us. It was pretty cool. And I've been on the board now for 5 years. With I always joke about this because originally when I became a non-designated member, my term was 2 years, and then we just never did another election. And then when we did do another election, it was really for what we were doing at the time with Tampa Bay Brewers Alliance. So we just kind of all hung on. Kevin, Ashley, Amy, and Brittany and myself, we all got to meet up and talk about what Beer Week is, answer some questions, talk about the future of Beer Week, and then elect some new members as well. I was really, really not surprised, but like delightfully yeah, just like excited to see so many people there. We had about 30 people come out, and quite a few of them were nominees for new board members. So the most exciting news being that I've somehow wrapped Danielle into all of this as well
Yeah.
now on Tampa Bay Beer Week, so we can collaborate on some things like that. And then we've got an amazing set of new hands on board: Stephen, David, Jenny. I'm overwhelmed with like the excitement of having so many amazing people, Aaron and Vinny, and
Yeah.
I can't believe it. And then on top of that, someone else decided that maybe I should not be a chairperson. Instead, they are gonna allow me the privilege of being an executive director for the board. So I'm humbled and excited. And
Yeah.
yeah, Mrs.
Oh, congrats.
Miss Executive Director.
Miss
So yeah,
Executive Director.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, very cool.
I had some cool conversations with some people this week as well, just some ladies in beer that I know. So I've got some exciting things coming up for all of us too.
Super excited. I'm super happy to be joining the board. I love Tampa Bay Beer Week, and so I've met so many great people, and I can't wait to kind of see it flourish and get bigger. And I did say this in a video, so excuse the F word, but I want to show everyone that Tampa Bay has the best fucking beer culture around.
Yeah.
So our community is just it just fucking rocks. So and we're gonna be able to show that in Tampa Bay Beer Week and all year long. So I'm super excited. And I honestly love that Kat is our executive director. I think she has been filling that role kind of without the title for quite some time. So I'm glad to see her move into that role. I think it's gonna be an amazing year coming up.
Thank you.
Congrats to you both. That's really amazing.
Thank you. So, just, we have a lot of cool stuff going on now. Taylor is going to be at SIP this week.
Yes.
I will probably come over and say hello because I have a meeting 2 doors down from you over at Bourbon on Main because I am also probably going to we both are in Newport Richey. There's a downtown kind of organization called Main Street, and I will probably be joining their promotions committee. So we have a meeting on Wednesday, which will be 2 doors down from where Taylor is giving readings. She's doing some astrology readings. Definitely, I want you to tell us about the astrology readings because if anyone is in Newport Richey or down that way, they are amazing. And I'll probably stop by because I'll be 2 doors down. But this is a different way. I like how you're doing it now than the way you were doing it before. So before, and I'm going to let you explain it. Before you had to like make an appointment and it was like this whole thing. But now it's a cool little deal. So I want you to explain what you do now.
Yeah, so now it's just kind of walk-in ready, like speed reading. So you bring your birth time, birth location, a birth date, of course, and I plug it in and analyze your whole chart. And I just kind of intuitively read it all. And it's at SIP, so it's in the little speakeasy. So it's not out in the public, but you kind of go behind a little hide a bookshelf and there's a little lounge back there. And so
Yes.
I'll sit back there and they have a lot of great beers on tap there and options and so many good things. I'm typically there on the second Wednesday of every month, but we moved it back one. So I'll be there this Wednesday.
Yes, which I'm excited for because then I get to come and stop by 'cause I'll already
Yeah.
be down there. And Kat, honestly, if you have not seen the speakeasy at Sip on Grand, which I know you don't make it down to Newport Richey a
I'm
lot,
literally
this
like,
place is so
let's go. I want to do that.
Yeah,
Have a
it's
little
cute.
hidden door experience. It's fantastic.
Yes.
And what an intimate
Oh,
setting
yeah,
too,
it's
because
great.
I know sometimes that can be a little overwhelming for people to receive
Yeah.
that information and share that with another person that they may or may not know as well. So that's cool that you get to do it that way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
no,
really
it's a
sweet.
cool
Little
place.
hideaway, little secret spot there.
So I wanted to talk to you guys today, and I did send this to you beforehand, but I didn't explain it because I want your actual, unique and authentic things here. So I was thinking this week there are a lot of new people. We're just getting through spring break, then we're going to get into summer, which we did talk about last week. So we get a lot of new people that come into breweries. And even some of the old people that are in breweries all the time, there's things that because we're front of the house, we're the people that see them. And I wanted to know your little like things that you wish people knew when they came in. Like here, and I'm gonna give you an example. Like if it's super busy and I walk into a brewery and the beer tenders by themselves, I never ask them to pour a flight. And because most people don't realize that flights take up a huge amount of time. And while I think a flight is great when nobody's there and you just want to sip on beer,
Yeah.
like I don't think people realize how much work they are for the person pouring. So if you could just tell someone like all the little things that you don't like that people do that you don't like, I don't think they realize like what we go through behind the bar to make that happen. So what would be one of your tips to someone newly coming into a brewery?
That's a hard question right off the bat because I was thinking of it more like not like to empathize or understand what the beer tender's going through. But so I have two
No, just in
responses.
general.
I think two things. So I think don't be afraid to ask your beer tender because if someone doesn't come to a craft brewery, they don't know what they like. I'd say tell them what you typically drink, and your beer
Yes.
tender is like your
Yeah,
compass.
that's
They
great.
can get you to the right thing. And on the like understanding a beer tender side of things, I'd say just be patient when a keg kicks. Understand that might take a second. Everyone who's in the vicinity waiting on a beer when that happens to just like appreciate your beer tender and know that sometimes it's not the easiest transfer. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, and depending on who tapped the keg before, sometimes we deal with this a lot at our brewery, is that these guys, I think, try to make it like a strong arm competition on who can put that tap the tightest on the keg, and then when we go to change it, it's like, "I can't even get this thing to budge for a good couple minutes."
Yeah.
Like, "I'm
Thigh
working on
power,
this."
everything.
Yes, have a little patience, but I do love that. I think, people need to realize, like, we definitely know what's going on behind there, so talk to us, tell us what you want, because we do actually want you to be happy with your beer. What are you
Yeah.
thinking, Kat?
I when you posted that question, I was like, I have so many pet peeves that like most people just, but that's my own brain of a pet peeve. And I always joke that it's kind of my karma for like all the times I was 21 and did the exact same thing. So like get over it. So I was like, that's an interesting question. I think you're right. And kind of just to piggyback off of that, like, I think there's an appropriate amount of samples to be had to a person. And so if you aren't sure what you like, then that's okay because we're going to help you navigate. We're going to guide you if you allow us to. And often I find like the people who are with you, like, oh, this is what I like. And that's very helpful too. A lot of the times our bar, I'm sure this happens at your place too. They're not sure. Somebody walks up, not sure what to get. Everyone at the bar is like, you should try this one. If you like this, you're going to like that.
Yeah.
This was my favorite. This is what I'm drinking, right? I think
All the enthusiasts.
all the enthusiasts, yes. I think 3 samples is the perfect number of samples to try. And I think that anything beyond that, you should either commit to a pint and try 16 ounces, or, if it's not crazy, explore a flight. I love pouring flights. I think they give like an opportunity to showcase a variety. And I'm a nerd, right? I'm a beer nerd. So I'm always putting those beers in order by drinkability, not necessarily the way that they've ordered them, but like what the palate is gonna appreciate more often. I know that there are some people out there, bartenders will die on that hill. They'll say, like, there's no way I'm pouring a flight. If you have flights at your brewery, I don't even want to work there. But yeah, probably not a great idea to do that when there's 30 people line out the door. And my thing is just like, have an idea and then commit when you're ready to commit because there's nothing more and just be a pal, like hand a menu back behind you. Those are things I would love to see more people do when they're at the breweries. But to that end, I never want anyone to feel unwelcome. I never want anyone
Of
to
course.
feel because there
Yeah.
is that beer snob culture, if you will. I'm not a certified beer snob, although, well, I try not to be anyway. I think there's a line of helpfulness and snobbiness, and I want to encourage people to try more beers. I think that there's a beer out there for everyone,
I do too.
no matter what you're into. You just haven't found it yet, or it hasn't found you. So if I can, pour a little happiness into people's lives, then that's what I'm all about.
I would so much someone ask me like, "Hey, I normally drink this beer and like let me give you samples based on that," than to just like randomly try a bunch of samples
Sure.
and like be like, None of these are really good." And it's like I've had people be like, "Oh, I want this IPA as a sample and I want this brown ale and I want this." And then I'm like, "Well, what do you normally like?" And they're like, "Light lagers." Okay, well, I kind of found why we didn't get one that you liked. Let me try now, so I think
People choose off of names, just like they like
yes,
the name and they're like,
I mean, that's like
that's a
reading a
cool name.
book, right? You're like, oh, I'm impressed by
right,
this cover, right?
Yeah.
right, and
That's
then
an
it's a book
intriguing
on
book.
physics and you like, romance.
Yeah.
How'd you know
So
that? I'm a little sci-fi fantasy girly.
I am documentaries all the way. It's so funny. Like I am such a nerd. So yeah, I such a nerd. If it's not real, I'm like, nah, I can skip it. It's fake. I can think of fake stuff.
Imagination.
No.
That's
Not
funny.
that person. But yeah, no, I've had a lot of new people come in and that's the one thing is like I notice that they're almost afraid to ask questions and then the default is just pour me what you like. Well, that's a thing
You'll
because
learn real
I
quick if
so
you ask me that question because I'm pouring you something you wouldn't necessarily be drinking pumpkin beer in the middle of June.
right. And I almost think like everybody's gonna pour what they want not on tap anymore. Like I want to run out of something, so that's what I'm gonna pour everyone who's open to anything.
Right.
We have a raspberry white stout. It's got a chocolate flavor, but we know that it's seasonal, and when it runs out, we're going back to it's called Java Shark. It is a coffee blonde. It is an amazing beer, and I want that
Had
beer
that
on
beer.
tap. I want it on tap so badly. that if someone says, well, give me anything, I'll drink anything. Yeah, I'm going to give you what I want. I want the next beer. But I also like, I take it to heart. Like I really, and everyone's going to, like most people are going to do that. But I really want everyone to be super happy with their beer. And so what I'm drinking may be something you hate. And so
Right.
I don't want that on me. I want you to tell me what, like ask me 20 questions. I think most enthusiasts, or I call them beer curious people, come in and they're so afraid to ask because they think that they're bothering us. Where I
No,
would so much, yeah, you're not bothering
we
us
do
at
this
all.
for a living. Like this, it's our pleasure to. I mean, I hate saying like my pleasure the Chick-fil-A way, but like I'm excited when I get
But it
to
is.
talk to somebody about beer, and that's the most exciting part of my job. And I have lots of things that I love about my job. But you get me in front of somebody who wants to learn something about beer. What's a side pole? I've had so many conversations about side pole. We installed it about like 6, 8 months ago, and none of the bartenders when we got it like knew what it was, and they've learned it over time. And we just put Pilsner Urquell on, and I almost had that instead of my Margarade, but I know we talked about Margarade on the last episode. But it smacks and it's so cool. And now that like everybody knows how to pour the beer, properly, and the different ways to pour the beer, they're more excited to tell other people. I love that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And if you come to the bar and say, hey, I've never seen that kind of, or, that tap before, what is that? Oh my gosh. Like, I can't wait to tell you. Like, I've been dying to tell, what's that weird thing? It's a nitro pour, and it's gonna do this, and it's gonna make your beer creamy. I had someone yesterday that got a beer that comes on a nitro, and he goes, "Oh, that's a lot of foam. Or is that gonna be okay?" Let me tell you,
I
this
love
is
it.
nitro, and it looks like a lot of foam, but look at how cool the cascade is, and it's gonna come up, and then we had this really cool conversation about the differences and stuff. And I wish more people knew that we want to answer your questions.
Yeah. Well,
I
it's
agree.
our
I think
job
it's like
to
matching, like when you
inspire.
find something, like you ask someone what they want, or they kind of say like, "I like a little bit of this," or "I'm feeling this way." It feels like I'm a matchmaker. Found their love, and they're like
Yes.
with their beer forever, and that's my little favorite bit of it.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I also am a big fan of like being able to people be like, "Oh, what's," and I know this doesn't pertain to you, Kat, because you guys have food. They'll be like, "What's a great place to eat?" And I'm like, "Oh, let me tell you about all my favorites." And so yeah, like I like talk to your beer tenders. We're lonely.
We're just
You
lonely
can't work at
beer
we're
tenders.
it's like us, and we do the little January PSA. We're so lonely. We miss you. But I think, and this kind of goes into the places that don't serve food tend to have a lot less staff.
Yeah.
And so it is maybe just one person that is behind the bar, and they really do like want to like talk to you and make sure your experience is phenomenal. Not that the not that the places like the brew pubs that have food don't want that. It's just it's a different experience. So that's just, when you're going into a brewery, and especially when they don't have any food, these are people who really, really get into the beer. Like I've got nothing else to talk to you about all day except the tap.
Accurate, definitely.
So, and Kat, if you could choose anywhere, would you? And I'm going to ask you because you do work at a place that does also have food, Gulfport Brewing, which again, the food is phenomenal. I've eaten there. It is great food. So if you're in Gulfport, not only go to see Cat, but go to Gulfport Brewery because the food and the beer is phenomenal. But now you work at a place, you've worked at both. You've worked at breweries with food and then breweries without. Which one do you prefer?
I think it's really just all about an experience. When you work at a place that, like, when I worked over at Southern Lights, they are sophisticated beer tenders. They are required to pour in certain glasses. They're required to have the proper amount of head on the beer. They not only know their styles, but they're sometimes, in the back, learning from ownership and from Abigail. And they really have like a base knowledge of what the breakdown of beer is. There are some places I've worked that require all of their bartenders to have Cicerone certification, level 1, which is when I got mine. I think it's a smart business move, but I don't think it's necessary. I think that when you work at a place too, you can learn a lot from your coworkers, or you can be inspired to educate yourself, which is,
Yeah.
I tried to do both, in the first brewery that I worked with. But also, when you don't have food, you lose out on the opportunity to continue to pour beer. And people will come for less beer because they need to go eat food. So
Yeah.
selfishly, in a restaurant atmosphere, you do make more money that way. And since we all do this for a living, that's how we make our living. I do think it's important. And I think there's been some great opportunities in the past decade where food trucks have really become a real big deal. But also, if I work at a place that has food, I have to know the food menus just like I know the beer menu.
Yeah.
And so it's more work in that capacity. And then there's less care for beer. I always joke with Jason Toft, our brewer, that we're a brewery. I'm sorry, that we're a restaurant that makes its own beer. We're not
Brews
a
beer.
brewery that has food because a lot of our focus is on our amazing menu. People literally will just come here. They don't drink at all. They're just coming here for the food and for the really good vibes, like great service as well. But I think there's not enough emphasis on beer here. So then I become the resident beer babe, which I am anyways. Then the staff doesn't necessarily feel empowered. I try to empower them as much as possible, but I've noticed that they're not necessarily empowered enough to, want to educate themselves on beer in the way that you're forced to when you're beer tending in a place without food. Because it is what you talk about. So I've seen both sides of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Working. That's why I work 6 days a week. And it's my day off today. Today is my one day out of the week off. And where am I? But my
You're at
family, they're like, we can count on a Monday. How exciting! What's up? I'm doing the podcast. They're like, all right, cool. So
So, all right, Taylor, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, so my first brewery job was a restaurant brewery. And a lot of the things Kat said, I totally agree. Like, you make more money. I mean, you're a server and a beer tender. At that place, we did get Cicerone certified, like everyone who worked there. So the servers were also, and we also had a brewer who wanted to teach us. So I think
That's
having a
nice.
brewer who like wants to explain the process, who wants to nerd out and like share with all the employees all the different styles of beer, and we all like studied together for the Cicerone test. And I think that was really great. Sometimes I think, you have the food with or restaurant with beer or brewery with food. And sometimes and I don't think Gulfport's like that. And the place I worked like wasn't like that. But sometimes I feel when you get food, the quality of beer goes down, or the quality of food goes down. Having like the pinnacle, good food, good beer, I think is
you have
amazing.
to
But
have the right hats.
yeah, just keep them the steady, have the right priorities around both of them. Yeah, I just think and then like you can make it fun, but you do have to remember the whole menu. The brewery I worked at, it was in Sedona Beer Co. in Arizona, but we had a changing menu. So every like couple months you
Oof.
had a new food menu, and it was delicious, and desserts but yeah, you have to remember more. You have to explain things more. But that was fun. It kept me excited as like a server because I didn't get bored of the food menu. I could eat
Yeah.
different things all the time. And then I like the idea of like pairing stuff. And I was talking to some
That.
customers the other day, and we were talking about Girl Scout cookie pairings.
Oof.
Wouldn't that be
Love
so?
that.
Yeah, so that's something just when I took the notes of food and breweries, that's where my brain went, was like the pairing side of things.
Yeah.
And when you have a restaurant, you're able to combine two, but you do get more beer enthusiasts in a little bar brewery, not like a food brewery. So, but I think you can have both because I have had both in the same place too. I think they all serve their place. Um,
So I actually have changed my view on this a little bit. My family was bars and restaurants my whole life. So when I went into the beer industry, I did not want anything to do with food. It was like, like it's I always say cuz we owned a pizza place here for 35 years and it was voted best pizza and we were super popular with pizza and I've had so much pizza like I'm pizzaed out for life. And I think that also happened with like I'm like food serviced out for life. I probably don't ever wanna work at a place that has food, not that it's that and that's just a personal preference. I much more wanna just focus on the beer and being able to pour beer, and I'm older, I have joint issues, like, I don't wanna be running around with someone's food anymore, but and that is just, that's a personal preference. I actually like the breweries from going out everywhere. I love a brewery that has food. And I used to actually and this is where I changed my view. I used to think breweries that had revolving food trucks was kind of like the pinnacle. Like that was the big deal. Is is that when you had revolving food trucks, that meant it was always a different experience for your patrons. You know, it was always something really cool and different. I have and probably because being on the other side of that and having to actually get food trucks, to always be there, and they're very inconsistent. There's,
That's
you know,
true.
so having like, I'm so excited, we're having smash burgers tonight, and then they're like, "Yeah, our tire is flat, so we're not showing up." And the inconsistency of getting them out there. I've seen a lot of breweries do this where they have one food truck that is literally stationary on their property. And I think that allows the people who serve the food to be 100% focused on the food and the people who do the beer to be 100% focused on the beer. But then patrons, for the beer enthusiasts, the beer curious, everyone who walks in the door, they get to have the both of best worlds. So if I were to open my own place, which anything ever again, I'm too old for that. But if I were to do that, I would probably make the coolest outdoor area for a food truck to be stationary, where it would just look like it was meant to, like these people were, at least this was meant to be, and then have the consistency of the food, but also have the you know, beer that's like top level. I will say though, because I have been to Gulfport so many times and I have had their beer and I have had their food, they are one of the few places where neither one of the qualities suffer for having the other. But I can't say that about every brewery that does it. But I can definitely say that about a few, like Gulfport, Tampa Bay Brewing. I always have a great meal there, but I also always have a great beer there. So
Coppertail.
yeah, Coppertail also. So there's a few that are just kicking ass and doing it right. But I think that takes a lot. And if you're not committed to doing both right, then open yourself a brewery and make the coolest side area for a food truck where they can focus on bringing like really great quality food and you can focus on beer. So I did have a little bit of a change of opinion on that later on, but my personal preference for where I work, it'll never be. You will never ever see me serving food again, and not because I love food. I am a foodie, but no, I never want to do that again. I am pizzaed out, and I am food served out in my life. That is a young person's game.
The hustle.
It definitely changes you as a person when you know, I'll never forget the day it will haunt my dreams forever. The day that I accidentally, was brand new to serving, I dropped a guacamole on a Karen's head. And it would have been any situation would have been bad if you drop guacamole on someone's head in any situation, but specifically a Karen type. It changes your humanity. It like rewires your humanity when you have to deal with a situation that's so I mean that was terrible, right? But like so over the top ridiculous. Why are we arguing about this? You're a person.
Yes.
I'm a person. I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
I want to make your experience the best experience. I want to make sure you have a good time. I want you to come back. I want you to tell your friends. I want you to leave a 5-star review on Yelp. And I want you to know my name when you do it. Uh, and I want to know yours. And like you don't get that opportunity with everyone when you're in the food industry.
That's true.
And you do get more of the opportunity to build those relationships. When you aren't focused on multiple different parts of business. But I like what you said about like I wanted to go back, like, because having a food truck on site is dope and
Yeah.
it always is going to help you.
Yeah.
And I was so infuriated at a brewery that I worked for because the one day a week that I worked there was the only day a week that they didn't have food. And I gave them absolute shit for it consistently. I'm like, really? You're just we can't, you have a taco truck, but Tuesday is the one day that you aren't doing tacos. That's cool.
Tuesday?
No taco
At
Tuesday.
2 locations. But to my point to that, their other location was so busy that they couldn't
Right.
take time to be there for the food truck, but it's okay. My feelings, I'm trying to move on from it personally. But I think, the cool thing about having a food truck on site or even multiple partners in a business that run food and then run the beer. And I think to your point, all of the locations that we talked about ourselves here at Gulfport included,
Yeah.
the restaurant is run completely separately from the brewery.
Yep.
The brewery has its own budget and goals, and they don't have to live, dependently from one another. And they also help each other, but they're never hindering each other. Which as a business, if anybody was crazy enough to start a brewery and or a restaurant that makes beer, um, just please be mindful that if you're going to have a brewery, you need to put full trust, 100% trust into whoever is running your beer, and then separate full trust, whether it's you or your partner or whatever, in whoever's running the kitchen. And then you can collaborate together, because that's the only way I found that it works.
Yeah.
And that's just like good business in general. Just trust something enough that it'll run on its own.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's and I think, I love some of these smaller breweries and I love, everything that they're doing, but sometimes I feel like, hey, like find some good people to work with you and trust them completely because sometimes you're standing in your own way and you don't see it.
Yeah. And having
And
all that always.
yeah, like build a team and trust them because that's always going to do better than not. So I am so much like team growth also in a brewery. Like I like to like if I'm like, "Oh, well, I never want to get past right here." That's great, but I'm team growth. So, like what can we be doing better, than we did last year? And I don't I the one thing that I love is that the beer industry doesn't compete against each other.
Yeah.
Like, everybody we're friends, but I do compete against where I was last year. So if I'm here, and I'm doing this much and even just as a server, if I know this much this year and I can do this much this time, where am I gonna be next year? Because 'Cause I'm always team growth, even just personal growth. So I think that, it's a really cool thing. Taylor, to your thing about the food pairings, I think more breweries should lean completely into that. I would love to see menus where they're like, "This is the beer that would go the best with this food."
Yes. No, I really want the Girl Scout cookie. I want them to get up, just have them there on the weekends, and then we can do pairing. And then I was drooling and daydreaming about it the other day for like 2 hours.
That's one of my favorite beers from Crooked Thumb, actually.
Is
I
the
know.
Girl Scout one. The
What's the one with
Samoa.
the coconut?
Yeah, the
Samoa.
Samoas.
Melons?
Yeah. Yes.
Like, I don't know. I don't even read the box. I just devour it.
Eat it. It's the purple one, and that's all I
Is
need
it?
to
I
know.
couldn't tell you. It's the one that's got the plastic and it's in rows, not the individual tubes of cookies. Those are Thin Mints, right?
So, and I actually this was not on my mind when I talked about food and breweries, but I guess, it's timely, so let's talk about it, is I am which we did say they're saying amateur chef, I don't like that
Celebrity.
term. It's celebrity chef, but so, that it is this Thursday. It's called Try This. It's being put on by
Oh.
Best Florida Beer, and so, and it's this Thursday at Blind Tiger. Yeah, so that's a really cool it's a cool little venue, but I'm collaborating with Tidal Brewing, which is in Spring Hill, and, so I was told, "Hey, they're putting on a German Pilsner, but whatever you guys decide is good," and I'm like, "Oh, okay," and I'm thinking like, "Oh, it's German Pilsner, let's just do German food because that's the whole thing," and then I tried the beer. I went there. They were not open, and I'm like, "Hey, let's collaborate, like, let's think of something together," and so I went there and I tried the beer, and it so changed my direction on the food
Ooh.
because, like, you could do German food. It's a Pilsner, you can do anything with it, but it was so flavorful and it had such an aromatic flavor to it that I'm like, "You know what? I wanna go much more into, like, very, like" I don't wanna say greasy because that sounds like a bad thing, but that fattiness that's gonna cut through those floral flavors. So I went from, like, I'm gonna do red potatoes and, bratwurst, and now I'm doing, like, burger sliders
Oh.
with because it's gonna cut that aromatic like that it's just gonna pair so, so well. Like, I could literally taste a burger as I was drinking this beer.
That
And
sounds
so, like, how many breweries would really benefit from being like, "Hey, okay, we have this smash burger, and if you pair it with this beer, the experience you're going to have overall is going to be amazing."
mm,
Love it. We do beer pairings every weekend. And this kind of goes back to like what empowering your staff to make decisions. Like they used to always ask me, "Hey, chef would be like, here's the special that I'm making for the weekend. This and this, which beer are we putting with that?" And finally I was just like, "What beer do you think would go with it?" What do you guys think? Like, when we do and then we got like into kind of like voting with everybody. And so now, Joe's our GM now, so he's taken over the beer pairing and he's nailed it every time. I think it's really important.
Cool.
And not enough events do it. I know there are some like cheese board,
Yeah, the
complimentary
charcuterie
charcuterie
stuff.
malls
Yes.
that have done it in the past at different breweries that I've worked at. But a super easy resource is the Brewers Association online. They have a lot of free resources on there for anybody who wants to just be a beer nerd and poke around. You don't have to be a member to access a lot of their information. They have a cheese and meat certified, I guess, like official official pairing, which is free to download and review
That's
for the
fun.
breweries that are interested in doing this. It's a really easy place to start. What styles, and it lists the style of beer, and then it gives you examples of different cheeses and different meats that would complement that styles. Free download,
That is
brewersassociation.org. Sweet
is
plug. Maybe they'll
awesome,
be our
and,
next sponsor.
There you
so
go.
oh, yeah, there we go. I hope so. Sponsor anyone who's listening, sponsor us. Please. This stuff, it costs money. Sponsor us. Taylor, so okay, I'm gonna ask you, Taylor, because we do have food trucks, and we get to know our food trucks really well. Do you recommend certain beers with certain foods when you're behind the bar? And do people ask? Is that another thing we should tell people they should ask?
People haven't asked me. I feel like they ask if the food truck's good, but they don't really associate it with the beer all the time. But I mean, the first thing that comes to mind if there's like we have a taco truck or something, like pair it with the Mexican lager,
Right.
some obvious, but I mean, barbecue, if we Roush beef certain things potentially, I could start playing with that in my mind, but it hasn't come up in conversations when it comes to, like, meals with a beer. Like, more so with the fun, like,
Yeah.
pairing things, but not so much like, I don't know, like, what would Jamaican jerk pair with? Like, that's kind of what I'm thinking, like
Spicy.
You know? Yeah, I mean, like, a Pilsner would do well because of
Yeah.
it's
The
got less a
opposite,
little
right?
like, a lighter flavor. Yeah, you try to do opposite. But it's I
Complimentary,
think
I
that's a good
or
to tell people. Yeah,
kielbasa, like
kielbasa bus. They are I wish they had more time. I wish they had more buses. Like, I wish there was more kielbasa buses so that we could get them out more often.
they're
We
getting
only
More
too, so if
sausage.
they ever be a sponsor.
Yes. Kielbasa Bus comes to visit our brewery, like, twice a month, and it is like, I'm the one that does the scheduling, and whenever they tell me dates and it's not a date I'm work, I'm like, "Oh, are you sure that's it? Like, you don't want a Sunday or something?"
We should collab with I think they would be a fun sponsor. You do like a whole shirt, Brew Babes Love Sausage, some kind of great and he would be so
Your
down
babes
for that
love
because he
them
has that
kielbasa.
humor.
Mwah.
We love them
I'm here for it.
sausages. No, and you know what? We do know the owner. We do know Austin over at Kielbasa Bus, who is an amazing person, and honestly, he would
Right.
get such a kick out of doing a
Yeah, him and
collaboration with
Mark would
Brew
love it.
Babes for that. They would love
They
it.
would love it because it's totally their style of marketing too.
Yes, is totally. No, that is so yeah, so Kielbasa Bus, Brewers Guild, like we're making a list here. Come on, guys. All right. Well, I know it is some of our only days off and we have a lot going on today, but I am so glad we got to jump on here even if I didn't get to see your beautiful faces in person. I'm so glad I did get to see you. I did say I will be at Try This on Thursday, so if you want beer and you want good food, I don't think it's a competition, but if it is a competition, vote for me. I have no idea if it is or not, but even if it's not, vote for me anyways. Just be like, hey, we love her.
What time is it?
It starts at 6:30. So and then there are it's limited tickets. So you do have to go to Best Florida Beer. You can buy your tickets. There's limited tickets left because it almost always sells out. So definitely the tickets are $30 and you're gonna get beer and food from every single one of the celebrity chefs there. So it's gonna be super cool. I'm excited. Vote for me. It's probably not a competition, but I don't care. And then I will be at Emerald Coast on Sunday for Music Bingo. Come out. It's a super fun time. And I'm also at Commerce on Saturday, which is in Largo, which is way far away. So please come out and see me because Commerce has some great beer that like nobody knows because we're in an industrial park. So come out and see me and we'll have a great time. Where can people find you guys this week?
We need an update. We got an update from last week's episode, or last episode aired. How did Family Feud Brood go?
We did not get it marketed out correctly, so we didn't have anyone come out. But I
We'll
am
try
actually
again,
committed
maybe.
to it. Yeah, we're actually gonna do it like once a month so that it can be a big deal.
Cool.
So
All right.
I will be behind the bar at Emerald
You let
Coast
me know.
once a month on a Thursday, and we're just gonna pack the house for a family brood.
All right, I'm gonna be there.
So
I'm gonna be practiced by just clicking as fast as I can.
I'll be at SIP Wednesday doing 6 to 9 if anyone wants to come out. And then I'll be at Emerald Coast Friday and Saturday night.
awesome. And Kat, I know you're like the busiest woman that I know. Where the few places, the couple times where someone could actually catch you and talk to you, where will that?
I'm excited to say that I've been doing sales now for Gulfport Brewery. So I will be in the market. I will be visiting
There
you
go.
all at other places throughout the week. Spending some time in downtown St. Pete, hitting up our local restaurants here in Gulfport, St. Pete, and Tampa. And then I'm headed up north Dunedin on Wednesday. So I'll be popping around saying hi to everybody
Nice.
there. And then you can find me, of course, at Gulfport on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this week, doing a lot of outdoor events. We just restarted our volleyball tournaments happening this upcoming weekend. So Gulfport's going to be popping, as always, with art and weird people.
Nice.
So I will be one of them.
I love that. I want to come out to volleyball and just watch because obviously I'm
Yeah.
But
You
all
need to
right,
hop in there.
ladies, I love you guys so much. Thank you all for coming on, and we will see all of the beer enthusiasts, the beer curious, and all of the listeners that maybe don't even like beer. We will see you on the next round.
Cheers.